Checklist of ISO IEC 27001 A.15.1.1 Information Security Policy for Supplier Relationships. Organizations rely heavily on their suppliers to deliver various products and services. However, this dependence on suppliers brings with it significant information risks and security concerns. The A.15.1.1 Information Security Policy for Supplier Relationships is a critical requirement of ISO IEC 27001, which emphasizes the importance of reviewing policies, processes, practices, and records related to the management of supplier relationships. This policy is intended to ensure that organizations identify and mitigate potential information risks associated with supplier relationships, including outsourced IT and cloud services, logistics, utilities, HR, medical, financial, legal, and other services with significant information risk, security, or compliance implications. Sample checklist. To ensure that supplier relationships are appropriately managed and risks are minimized, organizations need to review and evaluate the following policies, processes, practices, and records. Relationship management arrangements. Organizations need to ensure that contracts and agreements adequately address the information risk and security aspects of the relationship. This includes metrics, performance, issues, escalation routes, and other relevant details. Information, intellectual property ownership. Organizations must ensure that they understand the ownership of information and intellectual property rights in the supplier relationship, and that obligations and constraints arising from these rights are clearly defined. Accountability and responsibilities. Organizations need to clearly define accountability and responsibilities relating to information risk and security, including the roles and responsibilities of both parties. Legal, regulatory, and policy requirements. Organizations must ensure that suppliers comply with legal, regulatory, and policy requirements, such as certified compliance with ISO IEC 27001, identification and protection against information risks. Organizations need to identify and protect against information risks using physical, logical, technical, procedural, manual, and legal, commercial controls. Handling of events, incidents, and disasters. Organizations need to define how events, incidents, and disasters will be handled, including evaluation, classification, prioritization, notification, escalation, response management, and business continuity aspects. Security clearance of employees. Organizations need to ensure that employees who have access to sensitive information have the appropriate security clearance and that they receive adequate training. Right of security audit and whistleblowing mechanisms. Organizations must ensure that they have the right to audit suppliers for compliance with security requirements and have a whistleblowing mechanism in place. Organizations need to review and evaluate their policies, processes, practices, and records related to supplier relationships to identify and mitigate potential information risks associated with these relationships. By following the sample checklist provided, organizations can ensure that they have appropriate controls in place to manage supplier relationships and protect their sensitive information. It is essential to regularly monitor and audit external service providers for compliance with security requirements and respond to any changes in associated information risks promptly. This will help organizations maintain the integrity and confidentiality of their information and mitigate potential security breaches.